Up, welcome to another class of UPSC EPFO, Nutrition, Vitamins and Minerals. So today is one of the last classes of biology actually, where we'll be wrapping up. We have already discussed the human diseases. We have seen the diseases of the human body of different, like we have seen the COVID-19, we have seen the bacterial diseases, fungal diseases, viral diseases. So in today's class, we shall see what is exactly nutrition, what do you understand by nutrition, and how the nutrition deficiency can cause weakness. And of course, we shall see vitamins, most important vitamins, and how vitamin deficiency can cause the diseases. We'll also see the vitamin deficiency diseases, so that it will be a complete sort of setup for our human diseases. Okay. I had told you even during the human diseases that we'll be completing the second part under vitamins, and that is today's class. So what do you understand by nutrition? We have seen that plants have a type of nutrition. They have something called as autotrophism. So they prepare food on their own. Yes, what happens in plants? They are autotrophs. Yesterday's class we have seen. They prepare food on their own. Okay. But human beings, or animals for that matter, we are heterotrophs. So that means we are dependent on the plants and other smaller animals for our food. So we are dependent. So we need nutrition, and we are dependent on plants and animals for the nutrition, and this nutrition would help us in our life, health, and providing us with energy as the building blocks for repair and growth. Okay. And it is the interaction of nutrients in the food for the maintenance, growth, reproduction, and health of an organism. And there are two types of nutrients for our human body. We have macronutrients and micronutrients. So first I'll be telling you macronutrients like fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. They are required in a higher quantity by your human body. Like for example, the rice you eat, the protein you eat, the eggs which you eat, the fats which you eat, the cheese, pizza, and oils and all which you eat are required in a larger quantity. Okay, you need more of it in your human body. But some nutrients like your vitamins and minerals, they are required in a smaller quantity, so they don't take up a lot of your human dietary profile. So those are the macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients, they give energy to a living being for the performance of metabolic system. They provide immense energy for better functioning of body, and they comprise of fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. Okay, the macronutrients. And micronutrients, as I told, they are the important components. Definitely for metabolism you need them, but they are required in a lower quantity. Okay, they build and repair the damaged tissues, so they are required in lower quantity. I'll tell you what are the vitamins, minerals exclusively, we'll see. But first we shall discuss what are the macronutrients. Fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. What are the important macronutrients we shall be see in the beginning. So first are carbohydrates, as I told. It is one of the main origins of energy for human body, this carbohydrates. So they are found in our food, they are broken down to give energy, and there are three types of this carbohydrates. Okay, carbohydrates are actually nothing but your carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Ultimately, all carbohydrates are nothing but this. For example, your glucose or starch, whatever plants are also eating or animals are also eating, it's nothing but CHO, right? But it doesn't mean everything with CHO includes carbohydrates. Okay, for example, can somebody tell me what is your C6H8O7? Can somebody tell me what is this? We had discussed about this earlier. Anyone? Anyone, can you tell me what is C6H8O7? Under, if I tell you the name of the chapter, you'll get to know the answer. Under chemistry we had studied this. C6H8O7, what is this? Nobody remembers, nobody knows. Yeah, you want to play safe. It is your citric acid. Now, citric acid is not carbohydrate. Okay, it is an organic acid. So everything with your carbon, hydrogen and oxygen doesn't mean it has to be carbohydrate, but carbohydrates include CH and O. Have this conceptual clarity. So there are three types of saccharides. One is your monosaccharide, oligosaccharide and polysaccharides. So monosaccharides, they are the single units of sugar. Okay, they cannot be broken down further. They include your glucose, fructose, ribose, galactose. You can't break them down into further compounds. They are the simplest form of the sugars. Okay, for example, your glucose is nothing but the C6H12O6. And we have other type of saccharides which are your oligosaccharides. They include 2 to 10 of your saccharide bonds. Okay, how like in monosaccharides it included just one. Under oligosaccharides we have 2 to 10. So they include sucrose. I'm sorry, one second. Yeah. So they include sucrose, which is nothing but your combination of glucose and fructose. And we have maltose, it is 2 molecules of glucose. We have lactose, it is glucose and galactose. Okay, the sucrose which you eat, the sugar which you eat, it is nothing but glucose and fructose. It is an oligosaccharide. Maltose, it's there in maple syrup or the malt drinks like Bonvita, Milo and other malt drinks. It has 2 molecules of glucose. That's why it gives you a lot of energy. Then lactose, which is there in milk, is your glucose and galactose. Okay, under milk. And can somebody tell me what is the enzyme which sort of metabolizes lactose, which is there in your intestine? What is the name of the enzyme? What is the name of the enzyme which metabolizes? Okay, nobody is answering questions in today's class. We have the lactase enzyme. Yaad hai? Lactase enzyme, it metabolizes the lactose into simpler glucose and galactose. Okay, some people don't have lactase in their body, so they suffer from lactose intolerance. That also we had discussed. Okay, similarly we have polysaccharides. They include more than 10 saccharides. So they're the structural units like starch in plants, glycogen in animals, cellulose which is there in cell walls of plants and wood. All of them, they are forms of glucose ultimately. Okay, glucose only. Multiple saccharides of glucose is your polysaccharides. So multiple saccharides of glucose in plants is your starch. In animals it is your glycogen, and in cell walls it is cellulose. Ultimately it is all glucose. And this polysaccharides, they are mostly insoluble in water. They form the structural component of the organism. Okay, they give the structure. Like cellulose, the cell wall which is there for the plant, it gives the structure of the plant. Okay, these are your polysaccharides. Please remember these 3 saccharides. They're very important, very commonly asked in all competitive exams. Monosaccharides, like your glucose, fructose, galactose, all the simple ones. Then your disaccharides, oligosaccharides, like your sucrose, which is glucose and fructose, then maltose, which is 2 units of glucose, and your lactose, which is glucose and galactose. And thirdly, we have the strong ones, the polysaccharides, which give structural buildup for the organism, like your starch, which is there in plants, glycogen, which is there in animals, and your cellulose, which gives a structural component of the plants and wood. Okay, cellulose. Next, let us see proteins. So proteins we have seen, their basic units are amino acids. They also have C, H and O, and they have additionally nitrogen. Okay, actually the amino acids are nothing but your CH2, the CH2 chains. Sorry, NH2, sorry. This is your amino acids chains. Okay, in this way we have the amino acids, they join to form your proteins. Now some proteins, they are a group of large molecules made up of one or more amino acids. And the amino acids which are there, they are nitrogenous organic compounds which join together by the peptide or amide linkages. Okay, they are joined by this peptide or amide linkages. And there are several essential amino acids in our body, like valine, leucine, isoleucine, arginine, lysine, threonine, methionine, phenylalanine, tryptophan and histidine. These are the essential amino acids. That means they cannot be synthesized in our body. We have to take them as part of our diet. Okay, our valine, leucine, isoleucine, arginine. Okay, you have to remember this. They'll ask you which of the following are essential amino acids. So you should definitely be knowing them. For example, with lysine, there are three. There are three types of lysine or leucine. One is your leucine, next is your lysine, and third is your isoleucine. Okay, 3 L's we have. Then we have VAT, your value added tags which was there before. So we have valine, arginine, then threonine. Okay, threonine and tryptophan also you can remember together because both are right? So threonine and tryptophan. Just like how you have leucine and lysine and isoleucine. And last is your MPH. Okay, methionine, phenylalanine, and histidine. Fine. So let me just write them here in order so that you'll remember. With L we have leucine, isoleucine, your lysine, next VAT is your valine, arginine, and tryptophan. Okay, along with tryptophan there is another T which is threonine. And lastly MPH, which is your methionine, phenylalanine, and histidine. Okay, all of these are the important essential amino acids. How many do we have? We have 11 amino acids. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, then 4. Okay. No, there are 10. It's coming. No, one got missed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 are there. Okay, fine. Sorry. We have 10 essential amino acids which are not synthesized by our body. So we have to take them as part of our diet. Next, let us see some lipids or fats. So these lipids or fats are also CHO, but they are insoluble in water or polar solvents. So they are the organic compounds which are insoluble in water. Their main role is actually storage of energy. So actually if somebody is fat, he has a lot of energy in him. He is strong. Okay, so it's for storage of energy. It acts as a structural part of the cell membrane. Okay, it also gives you structure. And the fats are stored as triglycerides, with basic units of 3 fatty acids and 1 glycerol. Okay, they are stored as triglycerides, 3 fatty acids and 1 glycerol. It's on the whole, it's called as triglycerides. Fats. So actually, whenever you see the word lipids, fats, or fatty acids, triglycerides, okay, we are talking of the same thing. And there are essential amino acids which have to be taken by the body. They are not synthesized by the body. We have to take them by our diet, like the omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. Omega-3 is your alpha linolenic acid and omega-6 is your linoleic acid. So they are not synthesized in diet. In our body, they have to be taken from the diet. Most important essential amino acid, essential fatty acids are your walnuts, Newton, and fish. Okay, they give you the highest source of your omega-3 and omega-6. Omega-3 is your alpha linoleic and omega-6 is your linoleic acid. Next, there are 3 types of fat, roughly, which are saturated fats. They are formed by single bond. They are generally from the room temperature. They are generally from the animal sources, and they have a solid consistency at room temperature. Like your ghee, cheese, butter, all of them, they are saturated fatty acids. Okay, you need them for cooking. You need them for the oil. Next are your unsaturated, which are actually good. They are plant sources with liquid at room temperature. Like we have polyunsaturated and monounsaturated and polyunsaturated. Monounsaturated are your normal alkenes. They are the alkenes. All of these unsaturated, they are called as alkenes. So they have one double bond like olive oil, avocado oil. All of this, it is good. Monounsaturated fatty acids. Your polyunsaturated fatty acids are also good, like the flax seeds, chia seeds. They are good fats. Okay, as they have less blockage in the blood vessels, they are good fats. But the third one is the bad one, which is the trans fats. These are your unsaturated fatty acids, which are produced, these are saturated, which is produced from the unsaturated in an industrial setup. So it doesn't occur normally in nature to form this solid state. Okay, solid state is your saturated. They are bad for cardiovascular health. Like all these alkanes which we have, no? If this is an alkane, this is the good one, this is unsaturated. This under the production, in the presence of nickel, in an industrial setup by trans-esterification, it will form you your alkanes. Okay, so it forms the alkanes or the saturated ones like ghee, and this ghee is called as vanaspati. So this vanaspati ghee which we are having is actually full in trans fats because it is not produced normally in nature. You are producing it from some normal vegetable oil source you are taking, and you are solidifying it to produce ghee. So it is not naturally occurring. It is full of trans fats. So in your body, actually, when you have blood vessels, okay, the blood flows like this. They thicken. These trans fats, they form in blood and they thicken. So they obstruct the flow of blood. That's why, as people age, they suffer from the heart strokes, heart attacks by use of trans fats. And that's why our Indian government, our FSSAI, for example, it has launched something called as Replace scheme. Replace scheme to reduce the trans fats to 2% by 2022. Okay, and actually 3% by 2021. Okay, these aims we are having to reduce the trans fats. Fine, those are our macronutrients. Okay, just take a 1 minute break. Yeah. So those are our macronutrients, important macronutrients, which are your carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Now let us see vitamins. Vitamins are part of our micronutrients. As I told, they are required by your body, but you require it at a lesser level, the vitamins. So they are chemically diverse organic compounds that an organism needs for the day-to-day metabolism. So if we ignore few exceptions like vitamin D, it is actually synthesized in your body. Your gut, which is there, it synthesizes this vitamin D until a very small extent. So other than this vitamin D, most of it is not synthesized by your body. That means you have to take it as part of your diet. Okay, you need to take it through your diet. And mostly we get the vitamins from the plant sources. And animals also, if there are any non-vegetarians, you get from the animal sources, your chicken and mutton, from that also you get indirectly vitamins. But from the plant source, it is directly available, so it is better vitamins. Now, what are the different vitamins? Let us see them one by one. These are all very important, okay, for our examination purpose. So we have first vitamin A, D, E, K. These are the fat soluble vitamins. That means they are, when you take this vitamin A, D, E, K, it goes into your fat, or it is stored in your body for a longer period of time. On the other hand, the water soluble vitamins, they are not there in your body for a longer period of time, but when you take them, mainly the B and C vitamins, they are excreted in your urination. Okay, so they are water soluble, they'll exist in your body only through the water, but ultimately they have to go out. Okay, ADEK is fat soluble, then your B and C, they are water soluble. So under ADEK, we have retinol, calciferol, tocopherol, and phytomenadine. Okay, these are the chemical names of the vitamins. This is also important. And under the water soluble, we have thiamine, B1, riboflavin, B2, niacin, B3, then pantothenic acid, 5, pantho is your 5, then pyridoxine, it sounds like hexagon, so it is 6, then biotin is B7, folate is 9, cobalamin is C12, and ascorbic acid, the most famous, is vitamin C. So both of them, the vitamin ADEK and the vitamin B and C, both of them you get from the diet. But as I told, vitamin D, it gets rearranged in your body to a little extent, and vitamin K also is arranged in your intestinal bacteria. So this D and K, to a lower extent, they are there in your body naturally. But A and D are not there in your body, you have to take them by the diet. Similarly, B and C, if you see, there are small amounts of B7, B9, B12, they are arranged by the intestinal bacteria. Okay, or biotin, folate, and cobalamin. These are there normally in the intestinal bacteria, but mostly you don't have them. So you have to take them as part of your diet, mainly from your diet. And these function as hormones, antioxidants, cell signaling, and gene transcription. All of these ADEK, they have the different functions. You should remember. And D is also important for bones, for the composition of bones. Vitamin E is for antioxidants. Then vitamin A is for cell signaling, and A and D they're for the transcription. And B and C, they are coenzymes. They are important for the various chemical reactions. And C is also important for antioxidants and your immunity. Okay. Their deficiency causes malnutrition, the deficiency of your vitamin A, D, E, K, malabsorption, bile acid deficiency, medication, supplements, all this different genetic disorders, like in the form of rickets. I'll tell you what is rickets. And here excess accumulation is possible. Why is this possible? Because it is fat soluble. It won't be excreted from your body quickly. Okay, it goes as part of your fat. But here in the vitamin B and C, their excess accumulation is not possible. Okay, because it's exceptionally rare. Vitamin B, for example, you can take 10,000 mg of vitamin B. For example, I wanted to show you this. These are the biotin tablets of my grandparents. So they have 10,000 mcg. Okay, 10,000 mcg of vitamin biotin, which is your B7. It can be taken by your body. There won't be any problems because it will be sort of excreted in your body. It will be urinated through the urine. The B and C sort of they escape your body. But this also required. They have their what do you say? When you don't take B and C sufficiently, how is this B and C deficiency caused? By restricted diet, by malabsorption. Like if somebody has gastritis, there is no proper absorption. Then congenital diseases, deficiency of B complex, all of this are they cause severe complications. Their accumulation, as I told, it's exceptionally rare. No toxicity has been described for B1, B2, B5 and B7. That is why this B7 which I showed you, you can take so much of it. 10,000 mcg also you can take, there is no problem. Fine? It is a multivitamin tablet. Okay? So remember, A, D, E, K, they are fat soluble. Your B and C, they are the water soluble vitamins. Now let us see each vitamin one by one. What is its chemical form? Where do you get it from? And what are its functions? And if you don't take these vitamins, what is the deficiency caused? Let us see them one by one. First, vitamin A. Its chemical name, as I told, is retinol or retinoic acid. You get vitamin A from liver, from the butter, from egg yolks, kidney, leafy vegetables. From all of this, you get the vitamin A. If you don't take enough vitamin A, if you take good vitamin A, it is important for your vision in retinal pigments. That's why its name itself is retinol. Then it is a good antioxidant. It helps in gene transcription. It differentiates into epithelial cells into exclusive tissue. So tissue formation it will help you. And it prevents the squamous metaplasia and bite-out spots of your skin. So derma diseases are also prevented by the vitamin A. But if you don't take enough vitamin A, you'll suffer from night blindness, xerosis cutis, this bite-out spots, keratomalacia, immunosuppression. Okay, but most importantly, night blindness. In most exams, they'll give you night blindness. So it is something related to the eyes. Okay, it is good for your vision and its diseases will cause you night blindness. Vitamin A. Similarly, vitamin D, if you see, its chemical name is calcitrol or 1,2-dihydroxy vitamin D or calcitrol, you can remember. This you get it from fish, plants, milk, or mainly sunlight. As you get sunlight, vitamin D is produced in your body. And you also get ergocalciferol from plants, fungi, yeasts, your bread, and fortified foods. And this is important for calcium and phosphate homeostasis, for the equilibrium in your body, for absorption of calcium, Ca2 plus, PO4 3 minus, phosphates, calciums and phosphates in the intestine, bone resorption. So it's mainly related to your bones, vitamin D. And bone mineralization at low levels, also vitamin D is required. And if you don't take enough vitamin D, you'll suffer from rickets. Rickets, osteomalacia, hypercalcemitic anemia. So osteomalacia we also discussed in the bones. In the skeleton chapter, I had told you also osteomalacia, where your bony tissue becomes very brittle. Okay, osteomalacia is formed. Similarly, let us see vitamin E. Vitamin E is called tocopherol, and it is there in meats, oils, eggs, leafy vegetables. It is an antioxidant. And the vitamin E less, if you take less vitamin E, you'll suffer from muscle weakness, demyelination of posterior columns, hemolytic anemia. Okay, so naturally you get it in meat, vitamin E, oils, eggs, leafy vegetables, in all of it's good. And name is tocopherol. Next, vitamin K, it's called as phytominadione, vitamin K hydroquinone, and it is also there in green vegetables, spinach, broccoli. You can see it's common. Green vegetables is common for many minerals, for many vitamins. That's why green leafy vegetables are very important. But I also told you a little amount of it is synthesized in your intestinal flora. Then they are the cofactor in the various proteins, clotting factors, and so on. If you don't take enough vitamin K, you suffer from coagulopathy. That means your blood which is there, it doesn't coagulate well. If you get a wound, if you get a blood cut, it won't heal soon if you'll have vitamin K deficiency. Fine. Now let us see the water soluble. Let us quickly see the fat soluble again, at least the chemical names and what is its functions and deficiency. Vitamin A, chemical name, say it with me, repeat with me. Vitamin A, chemical name retinol. You get it from liver, butter, other things. Then it is important for vision, antioxidants. If there is deficiency, you'll suffer from night blindness or cirrhosis cuts. Then vitamin D, it is called calciferol. Then it is important for your calcium and phosphate homeostasis, for the bone resorption. If you don't have vitamin D, you'll suffer from rickets, osteomalacia, hypercalcemia. Vitamin E is called as tocopherol, and it is important for antioxidants. If you don't have enough vitamin E, you'll suffer from muscle weakness, demyelination, and hemolytic anemia. Then vitamin K, it is phytominadione, and it's available in green leafy vegetables, spinach, broccoli, and others. If you don't take vitamin K, you'll suffer from coagulopathy. Next, water-soluble vitamins. First one is thiamine. So, you can remember Thi. Thi means you. You are 1. So, B1, your rank 1. And it is, a chemical name is thiamine. It is present in whole grain sources like the whole wheat, brown rice, yeast, pork, legumes. In all of this, you get vitamin B1. It is important for several reactions involving dehydrogenase enzyme in carbohydrate and amino acid metabolism. So it helps the body metabolism. If you don't take enough B1, you'll suffer from beriberi. Okay. It is, and also another Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. Okay, it is related to the metabolism. So what do you have? You have thiamine and beriberi. Most importantly, asked in the exams. Next, B2 is riboflavin. It is also there in meat, fish, milk, and others. and it is a coenzyme in redox reactions. If you don't have enough vitamin B2, you'll suffer from cheiliosis. So your scaly lesions are formed on your skin by cheiliosis. Or you can suffer from conjunctivitis with corneal vascularization. Okay, vitamin B2. Next, we have vitamin B3. It is there in niacin. It is called niacin. And if you don't have enough niacin, you'll suffer from pellagra. This also is there in meat, seeds, legumes, and cereals. It is a coenzyme in redox reactions. Okay, actually for the 1 and the 3, you can remember the Reserve Bank's new monetary policy. Okay, R and M don't mean anything. Mainly it is for TBNP. The Reserve Bank's new monetary policy. So T is your thiamine. B is beriberi. N is niacin. P is pellagra. Okay. And vitamin B5 is called as pantothenic acid, pantho, which is your 3. What is vitamin B2? B2 is riboflavin with your cheiliosis. Okay, this is pantothenic acid. It is important for coenzyme A. It is a cofactor of acyl transfer reactions. Then if you don't have enough vitamin B5, you'll suffer from dermatitis, enteritis, alopecia, adrenal insufficiency. So hair problems, skin problems, you'll suffer from that with vitamin B5. Okay, your Pantene shampoo which you use, it is important with pantothenic acid. Okay, Pantene. That's why it is good for your dermal health. Pantene. Next, vitamin B6. It is called pyridoxine. It rhymes with hexagon, and it is there in meat, nuts, vegetables, and others. It's also all these functions it has. It's basically important for your body. If you don't have enough B6, you'll suffer from convulsions, irritability, sideroblastic anemia, and peripheral neuropathy. Next, vitamin B7, it's important for biotin. This biotin tablets which are there here, it's there in egg, meat, fish. They are the cofactor for carboxylases. And if you don't have B7, you'll suffer from dermatitis, conjunctivitis, alopecia. So all the similar ones which we had seen with the pantothenic acid. So pantothenic acid and biotin are a bit similar. Next, vitamin B9, it is folate. So it is green leafy vegetables, dry legumes may you get this. And it is coenzyme for this carbon transfer methylation. And the most common vitamin deficiency diseases of folate are your anemia, megaloblastic anemia, then hypersegmented cells, glossitis, and in pregnancy it causes fetal neural tube defects. That's why folates are, they're advised for the pregnant females. Folic acid tablets. Folic acid tablets and iron tablets, or else they have the fetal neural tube defects. So that's why it's advised for them. Next, vitamin B12, it is your cobalamin. And it involves meat and dairy products. It is a cofactor for all this methylmalonyl, methionine synthesis, all that. And if you don't have this, again you'll suffer from anemia, neurologic symptoms, hypersegmented polymorphonuclear cells. Next, vitamin C, it is called ascorbic acid. It is there in citrus fruits, tomatoes, potatoes, cabbage, others. It is important for transformation of dopamine to norepinephrine enzyme. And it's mainly important for collagen. Collagen, which is your bony tissue, it joins the bones. It's important for that. It facilitates iron absorption. That means it keeps the iron in a reduced state. And if you don't have vitamin C, you'll suffer from scurvy. Scurvy also is very important. And you have a weakened immune system. That's why during the COVID-19 times and all, people were telling, please have vitamin C tablets because it's important for your immunity. Okay, so again, let's revise the water soluble ones. Just their chemical name and diseases are more than enough. Vitamin B1, thiamine. If you don't have thiamine, the berries caused for you. Riboflavin, chelosis. Then your niacin, pellagra. Then your pantothenic acid, dermatitis, alopecia and all. Then B7, biotin also is same, dermatitis, alopecia and others. Next, vitamin B6, pyridoxine. It causes convulsions, irritability, not very important. Vitamin B9, folate. It's important for pregnant women, or else it causes fetal neural tube defects. Then last is cobalamin. It also causes neurological defects if you don't take it properly. Vitamin C, of course. Vitamin C is ascorbic acid. It's important for, if you don't take it, you get scurvy and you'll get a weakened immune response. Okay, so just try to answer this question. What is the answer for this question? Anyone? Abhi, we just discussed, right, all the diseases. Please try to answer them. Hashim is saying A. Vitamin A. What does vitamin A cause? Night blindness. Vitamin C, scurvy. Your B is with 4. No, Hashim. A is C, the second one itself is wrong. So answer is C. Vitamin A. Its chemical name is, let me write the chemical names here. Retinol. And it causes your night blindness. Then vitamin C is your ascorbic acid. It will cause the scurvy. B4. So just by second option itself, you're getting the answer. Vitamin D is your calciferol. What does it cause? It causes rickets. C2. Then vitamin K. Vitamin K is phenylminidoin. It causes coagulopathy or non-clotting of blood. So D1. So the answer is C. Okay. So this is a proper CAPF question. So like this questions can be asked for us. Now the last part of the class is your last type of micronutrients, which are your minerals. So the body also requires many inorganic minerals. They are essential minerals, they can be major minerals and trace minerals. So under minerals are definitely micronutrients. But under micronutrients, there are again two types of minerals, macrominerals and microminerals. So these two groups are important, but trace minerals are required in smaller amounts, and they're required by body. The amounts required by body is not of their indication of their significance. That means though less is required, but they're still very important. A balanced diet usually gives us all the essential minerals. Like you can see, sodium, Sodium is important for proper fluid balance, muscle contraction. You get it from table salt, soy sauce, all the different NaCl you get, right? Next, chloride you need for proper fluid balance, stomach acids. Potassium you get again for proper fluid balance, nerve transmission, muscle contraction. Calcium you get it, which is essential for healthy bones and teeth. It helps the muscles relax and contract. Okay, these are your macro minerals. Many are there, or many are there. Your phosphorus, it's important for healthy bones and teeth. They are present in every cell. They are part of the system which maintains acid-base balance. Magnesium is found in the bones. Then sulfur also is present in the protein molecules. So these are our macro minerals. How do you remember macro minerals? It is the same as your plant macro minerals. Do you remember yesterday in plants we had seen what are the macronutrients required by plants? I had told you that it involves NPK, your nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, CaMGS. Okay, these are required by plants, I had told you yesterday. And CHO are also required, but CHO they are there in carbohydrates. And here, other than this, we also have NaCl in our human body. Okay, so your K, magnesium, phosphorus, then magnesium, sulfur, your calcium, NaCl. Okay, sorry, under this, under the macronutrients listed in the plants, what did I tell? These are the ones which are required by plants, remember? But in human beings, we have seen that CHO is macro, we need it in carbohydrates, and N also we need it in proteins. So remaining ones plus your salt are the macro minerals by your body. Okay, so PK, CaMGS, NaCl. Similarly, we have micro minerals. That means your body requires it. It's important, but they require in a fairly smaller quantity. And the iron is regarded as a trace mineral, although the quantity required by it is somewhat more than the other micro minerals. Okay, iron. And other than iron, what do we have? We have zinc, iodine, selenium, and copper. Okay, actually many others are there, but here this they have given. Iron, for example, it is important for hemoglobin. It takes the oxygen in the body. It is required for energy metabolism. Then zinc is part of several enzymes. It's required for making protein and genetic material. It has a function in taste perception, fetal development, production of sperm, sexual maturation. For all this, zinc tablets are important. Okay, for zinc is important. Then iodine is important for thyroid hormone. Selenium is a famous antioxidant. Copper also you need. It's important for various enzymes. Manganese is part of various enzymes. Fluoride is important for bones and teeth. It helps prevent tooth decay. That's why in your toothpaste they add fluoride to prevent tooth decay in your teeth. Then chromium, it works closely with insulin to control the blood sugar levels. And lastly, molybdenum, it is part of few enzymes. Okay, these are our micro minerals, and many micro minerals are there. Are actually all inorganic minerals which we have. They are a type of micro minerals. Okay, so that's it, friends. Those are the important nutrition, vitamins, and minerals in a nutshell for you, and they're very important for all competitive exams. So please go through this multiple times. And any doubts regarding this class, you can always mail me on b.teja@gradeup.co. Okay, chalo. Let's meet Monday. Tomorrow and day after are holidays for me. So let's meet on Monday with another class on Monday. What do we have? We have space technology. Okay. Monday we'll discuss space technology, and Tuesday defense technology. Both of these classes are very important for EPFO, and I'll make sure that you'll also cover the last 6 months current affairs. Okay, last 6 month current affairs of space technology, defense technology, because generally they ask you more defense technology. more current affairs as part of space technology, defense technology. I'll include that in our notes. I'll make sure that it's there in our notes. Okay, fine. Thank you so much, friends. Let's meet on Monday. All the very best. Keep studying hard. Bye-bye.